Hello, hello, hello. Flag making is an unusual art. No, I'm not talking about designing flags or vexillology, which are remarkable professions should you go into those as a career option. I'm talking about the actual making of a flag. After all, not many people go out there thinking, hey, I should make a flag, and going through with it. There are dozens of companies out there that can make a flag for you for a low cost at any size, from small to big, with almost any design you want. You can get a flag of your favorite country, city, or organization that you like. You can get a flag that is so large that it can fly on a flagpole, or a flag so small you can carry it with you to a parade. There are also dozens of flag making kits that you can use to make a simple flag. In fact, I have one of those. They can come blank or with a particular flag design. For 5 years, however, I didn't have those kits. What I had was baby wipes, tape, and sticks. Now, before a fire shaped my life, my family had a ton of flags lying around. These flags were from Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, the United States, and more. They're all bundled into this box, and they looked a little worn, given that it had been a few years since they had been used. I started getting into flags sometime in elementary school, albeit it was a small affair, until middle school. There's an Instagram photo out there of a flag design that I created. Unfortunately, I could not find the photo. But while I could not find the photo, I still remember what the photo was. And yes, it was a little piece of paper taped to a back scratcher. Yes, you heard me right, a back scratcher. I promise you guys things will get better from here. When the big 2020 event arrived, there was a lot of chaos, so to speak. Schools closed and everyone had to stay home. A big mess brought up a ton of free time. Essential workers had to go out there to ensure we would live away from an environment of danger. So in May, some of us in the neighborhood started to open our windows and bang pots together to make a noise in honor of those individuals. I didn't have pots I could borrow. After all, my parents raised them as part of the celebrations, but I had an idea. A flag. I would wave it around in jubilation to these heroes. In fact, there are a few YouTube videos that I've created of those events, which you can find in the description below. You notice that the flag cloth was just one wipe in those videos. That particular baby wipe was unusually long, to the point where it could appear as a flag or a small banner. So I borrowed a stick, put in some tape, and waved the flag around. Later videos I had the flag decorated, first with a hole in the middle, and then with a red cross in the middle. And that is what started it all. I kept making flags in my free time for my amusement. I always have fun waving flags around. This sounds weird. Although not many people will be waving flags in their free time, but I have an active imagination that involves cities and like. I always imagine these flags would have symbols related to those cities and countries. That's why I kept making those flags. The fire, however, caused a significant question. What to do? Surprisingly, my flag survived the fire, though it smelled like smoke, and it was a bit messed up. But it survived. Admittedly, I kept giving away my flags, or simply losing them for a while. One of those flags was the survival flag. I didn't know where it went, though I reckon I'd get it away or something. Flag making continued even as I was in shelter. In fact, I never really stopped flag making. I always have a flag around me in my place to live, and I still do now. These flags were always made of wipes and kept together with tape on a stick. They could have easily held a regular flag made by a regular flag making company. And that's where we're now, albeit now I have a place to live. In 5 years of flag making, I've evolved my craft. Though it's still taped on wipes and sticks, the specific type of tape has evolved over the years. In fact, the number of wipes has changed as well. Let me show you an example. Caitlin Pierce took this video at a protest in Brooklyn on October 28th, 2024. You can see the large flag waving by a person in a blue jacket. That's me, and that's my flag. It was also windy day, which showed you how the flag waved proudly. But it isn't just one cloth anymore, it's 7. And that took a while to make. That flag was gifted to a member of Transportation Alternatives during the Congestion Pricing Celebratory Party on January 5th, 2025. Yes, I was there, and yes, I had the flag with me. If you see videos of that party, I'm usually somewhere in there amongst the crowd. But that flag was hard to make. It took a few hours as initially I wanted to use a type of waterproof tape so it could last in the rain and stick more easily to the still wet wipe. However, that tape tends to slowly peel off of the wipe after use, so this leads me to tip number 1. Use electrical tape, or failing that, duct tape or something equivalent. I've used a ton of tape over the years. Obviously, I used the clear office tape you see in the office. I also use hospital, duct, and electrical tape, and even glue. My ranking is from lowest to highest, so it goes glue, clear office tape, duct tape, hospital tape, and electrical tape. The electrical tape, in my experience, is very durable. It used to use in my flags when I was outside, and they've held up remarkably well, even as I waved them around a lot. Hospital tape does stick, and it also helps to blend in the white cloth around it, but I rent it lower because I don't really have access to it. Last time I had access to that tape was last May during a tragic personal situation. If I had access to that tape now, I'll probably rank it similarly to the electrical tape. Duct tape is also pretty durable and known for holding up against a ton of stuff. However, it's also very large, knocking it off a point or two. It is also hard to take off for maintenance, and I haven't had a problem with electrical and medical tape for this, but honestly, this might require some practice. Clear office tape and glue are not good, simply that they don't stick well, and I strongly recommend against using them for flag making. Step 2 on our little flag making guide, where you tape matters. This applies from putting your wipes into one flag to attaching ones to stick. Now, this is my latest flag. You can see that on this side there are 2 long pieces of tape holding the wipe together. Now, if you turn it around, the tape isn't there. However, if you are making a larger flag, I strongly recommend putting small pieces of tape across 2 wipes to have extra layer of protection for the flag should the tape on the other side fail. Now, turning it around again, you see 2 tapes here that are holding up the flag to the stick. There's a bit of history to that. At first, it was another long piece of tape running the length of the flag cloth. However, that looked unnatural and started to peel off after some time. I moved on to 3 pieces of tape, like so, which worked, though it was also unnatural and it made the flag look weird. So this led to 2 pieces of tape you see now. However, when I say 2 pieces, I do not mean 2 tapes. I mean 4. 2 pieces of tape, which you see here, directly connect the cloth to the stick. So this one here, and then this one here. And then another 2 pieces help keep those 2 tapes together. So this one here, and this one here. This leads to my third tip. Pay attention to your tape. It will start to peel at some point. This leads to 2 points that I have. Now, the first point is that it is perfectly acceptable and probably even encourageable given this situation to cut off parts of your flag to remove the peeling tape. If you can't tape off the tape from the flag, well, for example, if you remove the tape and a piece of wipe goes with the tape away, you are perfectly free to remove the remaining vertical strip of the wipe. That's how I do it. However, I strongly recommend you make every effort to remove the tape without moving all of the wipe cloth with it. To do this, I recommend slowly removing the tape like so. Pretend I'm doing it. You should use your hands for this, though. If you have experience doing this using another tool and it has worked out for you, do that. I don't have that experience, so I use my hands. The second point is that if your flag has suddenly moved up and down, like if the tape here starts to move a bit up or a bit down, well, that's it's a good sign that your team may be failing. To remedy that problem, I recommend that you should use new tape on the side of the stick, either up or down. I've had that experience over the last few months, and it's a relatively new problem. I reckon it's because sometimes you wave the flag quickly, and the tape gets unbound because of that. The fourth tip for this particular piece of cloth is to decorate with caution. I didn't tell you, though I did hint at it before, but wipes are a bit fragile. They're not meant to be used for making banners or flags. They're meant for hygienic use. So if you start decorating them, especially with drawings, your cloth will break apart. You can still decorate them, however. I strongly recommend planning your design out and then doing your design slowly. Now, watch me here. I have 2 fingers holding up a piece of cloth. Here you go. This helps to ensure the cloth won't break up when you put in your drawing. Then I start to draw. Pretend I'm holding a marker. I move the marker carefully up and down until something is visible. Then I keep going, up or down, left or right, until I get what I need. If you have a more durable piece of cloth, and I do have that, but I yet to make a flag out of it, you don't have to use this method since the cloth is kind of meant for these kinds of things. But if you are using wipes, be careful. Make sure you don't accidentally end up using more wipes than you intend to, so to speak. And that's how you make a flag. And that's the story of flag making and me. I'll admit something to you folks, I don't know if this will be a one-off or a long-running thing. This is my first video that's meant to be an actual video. Usually I stream video games and the like. You've probably seen my thoughts before. So I wanted to do something to spice things up and make it less more. And if things go well, I plan to make more videos of this variety, and I'm thinking of doing a little podcast thing that's still in the wraps. That's still being worked on. But I have confidence for this. So for this channel, for this little career we're going with, but well, you're probably not here for that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.